Good afternoon, friends. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to start by again thanking Pudar Education Network and Mrs. Swati Popat Vats for this wonderful idea that was conceived, wherein we'll be offering something like a education or schooling to children with autism in this city. And I think the uniqueness of this plan is that children will be getting 3 days of formal school education in a school setting. In addition to that, they'll be getting 2 days of proper therapy as we see it in a child development center with a team of therapists. And when I stand here, I'm actually representing a big team, and I would like the team members to just quickly introduce themselves, starting with Dipti, our administrator. So it's actually a team effort. No one person can really do everything that is required for children with special needs. And before I proceed, I'd like to take the permission of my co-panelist and Mrs. Farida to introduce somebody who's a very, very special guest today. She's none other than my teacher and my mentor, Dr. Archana Kher. And may I have your permission to please invite her on the dais, please. Madam, I'd like you to please come up here. Let me tell you about Madam. Madam's professor of pediatrics at KM Hospital for so many years. One of the most dedicated people you can ever see. She has almost single-handedly set up the pediatric research lab, which is one of its kind in India, where they have done studies on genetics for almost all conditions possible. And Madam has been the beacon of all these, beacon of hope for all the children. In KM, she was at Nair for about 8 years as a professor, and then she was back to KM, and now she has joined Seven Hills Hospital. And we're very happy to have you here with us, and we'd like your comments also, ma'am. Well, the topic that has been given is autism identification and diagnosis, but I quite dislike doing it from a very theoretical or a PowerPoint based presentation. So it's going to be an interactive kind of session where we would just like to share our experiences as what I see them as a pediatrician in the clinic when the parents come to me with a child or somebody refers a child to us, and the process thereby after which we follow, whereby we try and work with the child, we evaluate the child and present to you which are the features we think are very important. And as we said before, this is a joint kind of a venture between Pudar Education Network and New Horizons. These are some of my team members which you've been introduced to. These are two of our mentors from the University of New Mexico, Dr. Jane McGrath and Dr. Catherine McLean, who are consultants in autism, probably having 25-30 years of experience each working at New Mexico, and they've been guiding us through a program called the ECHO program, and we have an online teaching program with them. This is Dr. Anaita Hegde, another of our consultants. This is Dipti, as we just spoke about. This is Dr. Wahida Pagarkar, pediatric audiologist from London, who is also our team of advisors. Before we start with the pathology, so to speak, let us first try and find out what are the regular developmental milestones, because all of us know that autism is a developmental problem, and hence the first signs that can be picked up, or the first way you can suspect autism, is by looking for milestones. And this is actually quite the Achilles tendon for so many pediatricians, I would say. I would not know about the others because it's still very difficult for people to remember what are the milestones. And I thought it would be very nice if you could go through them. Could somebody tell me basically how do you divide the domains of milestones? Would somebody like to say? What are the domains of the milestones that we look at when we are considering child development? Anybody? Any of the students here? Well, maybe I'm not making myself clear. What I'm trying to say is that when we look at development, we look at 4 main domains. That is gross motor, fine motor or adaptive, speech, language, communication, and the 4th is social behavior. Isn't that so? So when we are talking about this issue, by and large, the domains of gross motor and fine motor would not be significantly delayed. What we are looking at basically speech, language, communication, the domain of speech, language and communication, and social behavior. So as we all know, the milestones start right at birth. A newborn child cries and startles to loud sound. That itself is a milestone. By 2 to 3 months, differentiate the cries, differences in the sounds that the child makes. The mother can make out whether this is a cry of the child who is hungry or who has done susu potty or things like that. By 4 to 6 months, the child turns its head towards sound, makes non-speech sounds, squeaks and babbles in the melody of the native language. I'm sure we all know that. It's important to know the exact age at which these things are expected to happen. Between 6 to 12 months, however, is a period of great improvement where the child babbles, gestures to communicate, knows his or her name, responds to name calling, looks in the direction of the name being called. 12 to 18 months, the child now starts to string together the sounds to make the first earlier words and sentences. By 18 to 36 months, the child starts speaking short sentences, starts singing songs. So when we are looking at a problem, we are looking at missing of these milestones which we have spoken about. These are the normal milestones that a child should achieve at the particular age. And this is what happens when we can call it as a case of a missed or a delayed developmental milestone. So what I'd like to tell you is that we all know that a child starts cooing by about 6 months of age, starts babbling by about 9 months of age. But by about the first birthday, the child should be able to say at least one word. Now again, when we look at children with autism, there's a huge confusion in the history, because a lot of time parents do say that the child spoke words, and therein lies a confusion. We must make it very clear that when we say spoke the first word, was it a meaningful word or was it a non-meaningful word? If the child is just babbling mama, when he looks at the mother, he looks at the father, or looks at the grandmother, or looks at the TV, it does not constitute a valid word. It's only a sound, but it's only when the child looks at the mother, wants something from the mother, bonds with the mother, establishes a relationship in that particular moment with the mother by saying mama, looking at the child, looking at the mother, probably putting out its hand to take something or give something to the mother. That is what constitutes a valid first meaningful word. So the first suggestion is that when we do take developmental history, please try to find out whether it was a meaningful word or it was not. Because by the 1 year of age, it's not just the presence of words, it's the presence of a meaningful word. Just like a child who's given a block to play with at 1 year of age will probably just look at a block. If you give a block, the child will take it in the right hand. If you give another block, the child will take it in his left hand, and that's it. By the time the child is about a year and a half, you will find that the child puts these two hands together and puts one block on top of the other or one cube on another and starts stringing these two objects together to probably make a train or a tower or something like that. Do you all agree with this? I would like some kind of responses. Yeah. So this is the concept that he knows. This is one block, this is another block, but I can put two blocks together to make a larger object. It's the same thing with words. By the time the child is a year and a half, he has a vocabulary of about 10 to 12 words. What kind of words? What kind of words? Meaningful words. So he has a string of 8 to 10 meaningful words and maybe hundreds of other sounds that the child keeps doing. But by the time the child is a year and a half, he understands the concept that two words like two blocks of wood or cubes can be put together to make a larger word. Just like two blocks can be put together to make a larger block, you can put together two words to make a more meaningful or a larger meaningfully or a larger content of a meaningful expression. So the child will say, Mamma ye in Hindi, Marathi maybe, or Mama do. It does not matter if the child says Mama do or do Mama, because it's not the age where the child would know grammar. But the idea is to look for is not his grammatical skills, but whether he can understand that Mama and do. You give something when you're telling the mother, Mama give, for instance. Does the child understand that saying Mama give means something more than just Mama or just give? So this is the concept which is very, very important when we are evaluating expressive language skills. By the time the child is 2 years old, you would expect the child to be able to string 3 such words to make a content or a meaningful content. Again, it does not matter about the pronunciation, it does not matter about vocabulary, pronouns, so on and so forth. But it matters that the child understands that I can use words to combine them to denote or to express some meaningful content. And these are the milestones which are very, very, very often missed, which people do not remember to note down at that point of time. And hence when you're taking in history as well, this is the kind of way that you need to very specifically take history in. Because we know there are a large number of children with autism whose parents would say that the child was saying mama, baba and a few words at around 1 year of age, and then the child stops saying them. So this is often looked as regression. Until a few years back, it was believed that a child with autism would be normal till 1 year of age in terms of speech and language development, and then would lose the language that he has learned. But often now we think that it was not actually true language, because when you go back and take a history, they were not meaningful words, they were not used with an intention to communicate something between two people, but they were probably something like an echolalia, which we will talk about in a brief while.